All right, let's dive into something pretty interesting, the psychology of people who just disappear. I mean, we've all had that friend, right? Or maybe you are that friend. You know, they're amazing when you're with them, super present, totally engaged, and then poof, they just vanish. No texts back, they ghost events, they go completely off the grid for weeks, sometimes even months. And when that happens, our minds immediately jump to conclusions, don't they? You might think, ugh, are they just being lazy? Or maybe it feels a little more personal, like, are they just straight up ignoring me? Or, maybe they've just gotten too arrogant, too good for the friendship. Well, the truth, it's almost never that simple. It's actually way more complicated. There are four pretty distinct psychological types that explain this whole disappearing act. We're going to break down all four, and stick with me, because the last one is probably not what you're expecting at all. Okay, so let's jump right in. First up, we have type 1, the overstimulated retreat. So what's going on here? Well, a lot of these folks have what's called a highly sensitive nervous system. Think of it like this. Their brain's filter is, well, it's not the same as everyone else's. It doesn't really block out the noise, the lights, or even the emotional vibes from other people. It just soaks it all up, kind of like a sponge. You know how extroverts seem to feed off social energy? They get more and more hyped up. For someone with a sensitive system, it's the total opposite. All that interaction can actually mess with their dopamine levels. Their brain gets totally overwhelmed, and their social battery, it doesn't just run low, it completely flatlines. It's a hard crash. So when this person goes quiet, it's really not personal. It's not about you at all. It's because their brain has been in overdrive, just running at a million miles an hour. Going home, back to their sanctuary, isn't just a preference. It's an absolute necessity for them to rebalance. It's the only place they can drop the masks and stop performing. All right, that brings us to our second type, which is a bit different. This is the self-reliant processor. Now, this person, they don't disappear to recharge their social battery. They disappear to work. When a big life problem hits them, their first instinct isn't to call a friend and vent. Nope. They retreat inward. They need to isolate themselves to think, to process, and to figure out a solution all on their own. And a big part of that is they just refuse to feel like a burden to anyone. So you probably won't hear from them until they've got it all sorted out. I love this way of looking at it. Their silence isn't coldness, and it's definitely not a rejection. It's more like quiet armor. It's what they put on for self-protection while they're off battling their own dragons, carrying that weight all by themselves. Okay, now for type 3. This one's a total shift in perspective. We're talking about the disillusioned detacher. Picture this person. They used to be that friend, the social butterfly, the life of the party. Their name was always popping up in the group chat, and they were at every single event. But then something clicked. They started to see through the whole performance. They looked around at parties or scrolled through their feed and just saw an illusion. All the forced laughter, the meaningless gossip, this endless chase for likes and external validation. And it just started to feel empty. This shift leads to something psychologists call existential detachment. And it's a really important distinction. It's not arrogance. It's a conscious choice to step back. It's this deep, almost painful awareness that all those shallow connections, they're not going to bring any real fulfillment or solve any real problems. And this really gets to the heart of it. I mean, think about it. When everyone around you is wearing a mask, it's exhausting to keep pretending. For this person, being alone feels more honest, more real. They genuinely rather spend a month in solitude than even one more hour playing a part in that social illusion. And that brings us to our final type. The one I said was the most unexpected. This is type 4, the rarest of them all, the emotionally independent. So what's their deal? Why do they go off the grid? Is it burnout? Is it some hidden trauma? Are they just fed up with society like our last type? Nope, it's none of those things. The answer is actually incredibly simple, and that's exactly what makes this type so rare. They disappear. Just because they're genuinely happy on their own. They're content. This whole mindset is backed by a psychological concept called self-determination theory. And the gist is this. True happiness doesn't come from the outside world. Getting likes on a post or being invited to every party. It comes from the inside, from things like feeling in control of your own life, being good at what you do, and just having this deep internal sense of satisfaction. So for them, self-worth is an inside job. When they disappear, it's because they're totally absorbed in their own world. They're building something, creating art, learning a new skill. They just don't have that need for other people to validate them and tell them they're worthy. They already know. And I think that's the perfect way to wrap this all up. For all four of these types, disappearing isn't really about running away from you or from society. So much of the time, it's about returning to themselves. So, after hearing all that, which one are you? Or which one is your friend? Are you the overstimulated retreat, the self-reliant processor, the disillusioned detacher, or that rare, emotionally independent type? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment and let us know.